our previous segment, we finished with number 12 where we FOILed or multiplied. I'm going to go ahead and scroll here. We multiplied the first terms together. A times A is a to the second power. Then the outside terms together. A times a negative 4 is a negative 4a. Then the inside terms together, positive 3 times a is 3a, and then the last terms together, 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12. And we combined the inner and outer terms that were like terms. So the minus 4a and the 3a added to be a minus 1a, and then brought down our minus 12. If by chance you can do this in your head, more power to you, and I'm really happy because we got a lot of algebra to do together. So x times x is x squared. What I do is I keep this negative 5x in my head. I just hang on to that negative 5x because I know a positive 7x is coming, and I'm adding those two in my head immediately, and I notice that they're going to add to be 2x. So I have x squared plus 2x, and then I put my last term down of a minus 35. So if you can FOIL in your head, I'm going to go ahead to complete this. I'm going to put that minus 35 there. But if you can do these two in your head and come up with the positive 2x without writing anything down, that's awesome. Secondly, if you have a binomial times a binomial where the two binomials look alike except for one's got a plus sign and one's got a minus sign, so this is y plus 3 and y minus 3. This is called the sum and difference of squares. When you FOIL this, y times y is y squared. Y times a negative 3 is a negative 3y, but the inside 3 times y is a positive 3y, and those will always add to be 0. Negative 3y and a positive 3y is nothing. And then a positive 3 times a minus 3 is a minus 9. So you end up with y squared minus 9. So if you see x minus 2 and x plus 2, you could just go ahead and write down x squared minus 4 because you know that the positive 2x and the minus 2x combine to be nothing. Now, when I FOIL this next one, again, I'm hoping that you might have already done these on your own. When I FOIL this next one, 2x times 5x is 10x squared. Some people forget the squared for this for some reason. They want to call it 10x. It's only these two. 2x times a minus 1 is a minus 2x. 7 times 5x is a positive 35x. And 7 times a minus 1 is a minus 7. If you were able to catch these two in your head and add them to be 33x in your first step, great, because here's your final answer, a trinomial. So often a binomial times a binomial is often a trinomial. Let's go ahead and get this one. Here's a common mistake, and I always put a problem like this on our test, where you take a binomial and square it. What's best for you is to write that binomial down twice so that you're sure to FOIL it. If you don't FOIL this, you will miss the inner and the outer terms. So writing it down twice will remind you this part's usually not a problem. You'll get a 4x squared. But it's this right here. 2x times a minus 5y is a minus 10xy. And right here you have another minus 10xy. So those will combine in a minute. And then this minus 5y times a minus 5y is a positive. 5 times 5 is 25, and y times y is y squared. Finally, don't forget, these are like terms because they both have an xy. Their powers are the same. They combine to a minus 20xy. I'll bring the 25y squared down. I'll bring this 4x squared down, and I'm all done. So often, if people don't write this one out twice, they'll get 2x times 2x is 4x squared, and they'll get, I'm sorry, my pen doesn't want to behave, 5y times 5y is 25y squared, but they may not get that middle term. Okay, I'm getting harder on you. I'm going to skip number 18 for a minute. Let's go to 19 and 20. So when I distribute and FOIL this, so x squared times 2x is 2x to the third power. 9 times x squared is 9x squared. A minus 1 times 2x is a minus 2x, and a minus 1 times 9 is a minus 9. This one doesn't have two terms in the middle that are like terms, and that's because this binomial right here is x squared minus 1. Not just an x, but an x squared. And the second one is only a 2x. So the binomials are not quite alike, if you will. Think of this next problem as an electricity and electronics problem. So you have voltage. E times 5e would be 5e to the second power. And then 1e times 4ir would be 4e I r. Doesn't matter what order. Those are the factors, e, I, r. Here is a minus 6 times 5 is a minus 30, and the letters in that one are also e, I, r. And then finally, a minus 6 times a positive 4 is a minus 24, but be careful. ir times ir is I squared, r squared. And then finally, these middle terms are both like terms because they have the same letters raised to the same powers. So their coefficient combines to be a minus 26, EIR. And then I'm just going to bring everything else down. And there's my final answer for that problem, number 20. Let's go back, and then we'll probably split this section into 3 videos. Let's go back and catch this problem right here. Hopefully I have enough space to do number 18. So it says to cube 3x minus c squared. So I'm going to have to write kind of small. It means to take 3x minus c squared and then multiply it by 3x minus c squared and then multiply it by 3x minus c squared. That's what I mean when I ask you to cube something. You can only do one binomial times one binomial at a time. There is a shortcut to this, but this is the best way for us to learn this. So let's FOIL that. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared, and then 3x times a minus c squared is a minus 3x c squared. Here's another minus 3x c squared, and then finally the last terms. A minus times a minus is a positive, and it's c to the 4th power. These two terms are like terms, so I have to collect them. There'll be a minus 6 of those. I'm going to move this right here, which is going to become a trinomial. I'm going to move it over here. So I'll have the 9x squared, and then I'll have minus 6 of those x c squareds plus c to the 4th. And now that answer has to be multiplied by 3x minus c squared because I haven't taken care of this one yet. I've only done these two right here. So now I've got to take this one and multiply it by that answer. So I've now got to take a binomial times a trinomial and distribute. The 3x has got to be multiplied by every one of these terms over here. So 3x times 9x squared is 27x to the 3rd power because I'm adding exponents. 3x times a minus 6x c squared is a minus 18. This x times this x will give me x squared, and I had a c squared there. Then 3x times c to the 4th will be a 3x c to the 4th. Now I've got to take this minus c squared right here and multiply it by all 3 of those. I'm going to do it in a different color. So the minus c squared times the 9x squared would be a minus 9x squared c squared. I purposely put it underneath this one because that has the same letters in the exponents. This one right here, a minus c squared times a minus 6x c to the 4th. So let's see, that's going to be a x c to the 4th. So I'm going to put that one right under here, and it's going to be a plus because it's this minus times this minus is a positive 6. There's an x c to the 4th. And then finally, a minus c squared times a positive c to the 4th is a minus c to the 6th because I add their exponents. Finally, I've got to combine my like terms. The 27x cubed is all alone. Then these two combine to be a minus 27, pretty sure. Yeah. X squared, c squared. These two add to be a 9x c to the fourth. Please, you're just adding their coefficients because you're adding these like things, so there's 9 of them. And then bring down minus c to the sixth. I'm going to go ahead and pause here. There's a couple of pretty challenging problems next, but you could go ahead and try them. So I'm going to show you that on the next page, if you would go ahead and do numbers 21 and 22 by distributing the 2x times this, and this, and then the 7 times this, and this, and see if you get the same answer I get when you come to the next video.